After a week-long pause in fighting, the ceasefire between Israel and Hamas comes to an end. And a senator takes quick action using the Heimlich maneuver to help a colleague in trouble. The Morning Rundown starts now.
From the Straight Arrow News Studio, bringing the stories that matter to you from across the United States and around the world. This is the Morning Rundown.
Today is Friday, December 1st. Thank you for joining us. I'm Kara Rucker. A week-long truce between Israel and Hamas is over. The ceasefire successfully saw the release of more than 100 Israeli hostages from Gaza and 240 Palestinians from Israeli prisons. Already this morning, Israel says it has resumed its airstrikes after Hamas fired rockets hours before the ceasefire was to expire. Israel's military said it intercepted a projectile fired from Gaza, which led them to retaliate. Air raid sirens began sounding in Israel, indicating more rockets or shells had been fired toward the country. International mediators are still in talks with both sides, not giving up hope of another pause in fighting in the future in order to free more hostages. U.S. Secretary of State Antony Blinken traveled to Israel on Thursday, his fourth time since Hamas's terror attack in October. Blinken met with Israeli Prime Minister Benjamin Netanyahu and other leaders to try to extend the truce, urging safety and aid for civilians in Gaza, while Israel continues its mission of eliminating Hamas.
We support, continue to support, will continue to support Israel's efforts to do everything possible to ensure that Hamas cannot repeat the horrors of October 7th. And that means, among other things, that Hamas cannot remain responsible for governance in Gaza, and it cannot retain the capacity to repeat those attacks.
Republican presidential candidate Florida Governor Ron DeSantis faced off with California's Democratic Governor Gavin Newsom during a debate Thursday night on Fox News. Over the course of 90 minutes, the two debated over topics such as President Biden's record, the COVID-19 pandemic, abortion, and border security. When asked by Fox News host and moderator Sean Hannity to grade Biden's performance, Newsom gave him an A. DeSantis, who is looking to become the next president, gave Biden a fail. DeSantis has accused Newsom of running a shadow campaign, suggesting Newsom is looking to replace Biden on the November 2024 ballot, an accusation Newsom says isn't true.
Gavin Newsom was mayor of San Francisco, so he took the San Francisco model, turned that into a template for California's collapse. Now the left wants to take the California model and use that as a template for America's collapse. We cannot let that happen.
Newsom pointed to DeSantis' current standing in the presidential race, citing polls showing the Florida governor falling well behind the frontrunner, former President Donald Trump.
There's one thing in closing that we have in common is neither of us will be the nominee for our party in 2024.
Today, the House is expected to hold an expulsion vote for embattled Republican Congressman George Santos. Santos has survived prior attempts to oust him from Congress, but following a report released by the House Ethics Committee earlier this month, more of his colleagues believe there should be consequences for his actions. Still, in a news conference outside the Capitol on Thursday, Santos said he will not resign, calling the latest expulsion effort a stunt brought by bullies.
Because if I leave, they win. If I leave, the bullies take place. This is bullying.
The expulsion vote comes as Santos faces a slew of federal criminal charges alleging that he stole the identities of campaign donors, then used their credit cards to make unauthorized purchases, totaling tens of thousands of dollars. Santos has pleaded not guilty to those charges. To date, there have been just 5 expulsions of members of the House of Representatives. Of them, 3 were for disloyalty to the Union during the Civil War. On Thursday, a federal judge blocked Montana's ban on TikTok from taking effect next month, saying it violates free speech rights. The judge in the case said the state's attempt to implement a first-of-its-kind statewide ban on the Chinese-owned social media app violates the Constitution in more ways than one. After Montana passed the ban in April over concerns of China's access to personal data, TikTok's parent company ByteDance, as well as several TikTok users, filed lawsuits against the state. TikTok said in court filings that it has not and would not share user data with China, and the company has taken substantial measures to ensure user privacy. Montana's Attorney General's office defended the state's ban, adding that Thursday's ruling is preliminary. Senator Rand Paul is being credited for his quick action after a fellow senator began choking during a Republican conference luncheon at the Capitol on Thursday. The Kentucky senator successfully performed the Heimlich maneuver on Senator Joni Ernst of Iowa. Ernst confirmed the incident on X, saying in jest, "She can't help but choke on the woke policies Dems are forcing down our throats. Thanks, Dr. Rand Paul." Paul is a medical doctor specializing in ophthalmology. Ernst was hosting the luncheon for GOP lawmakers, part of a tradition that has a different senator bringing in food from their home state every week. Finally this morning, all you can eat. Those 4 words bring a smile to plenty of diners' faces at restaurants across the country. But one restaurant chain is seeing red after their endless promotion cost them millions. Thai Union, the owner of Red Lobster, say they experienced an approximate $11 million loss in the third quarter. A key factor behind that loss, the restaurant's ultimate endless shrimp deal, which allows guests to have as much shrimp as they want for just $20. The once limited time offer was permanently added to the restaurant's menu in June as the company hoped to counter a decline in customer traffic. The plan worked, maybe too well. The company saying more customers than expected took them up on the deal. The endless shrimp deal is still on Red Lobster's menu, but it costs $5 more. These are your top stories for this Friday. Be sure to subscribe to the Morning Rundown newsletter to get the top stories each weekday morning. Just go to san.com/rundown to sign up. Unbiased, straight facts, that's Straight Arrow News. We'll see you back here on Monday. Until then, I'm Kara Rucker. Have a great weekend.